Welcome to a brand new deep dive. Today, we are tackling something that I think affects almost everyone listening. We're addressing financial illiteracy and, well, really, the totally inadequate financial education of the middle class.
Yeah, it's a huge issue. And we are looking at a text today that makes a really provocative statement right out of the gate. It basically claims to outline the exact reason most Americans struggle financially, and more importantly, how to reverse it.
Right, and they throw out the statistic that something like 95% of hardworking people are just stuck, which, I mean, that's a bold claim.
It really is. But I want to be clear right away. Our goal today isn't to debate the exact percentages. I mean, numbers fluctuate, right?
Exactly.
What we really want to uncover is the truth behind the message. Why are so many highly intelligent, incredibly hardworking people trapped in a system they don't fundamentally understand?
Okay, let's unpack this, because before we can fix the financial struggle, we have to understand, where it actually starts. And the sources are so adamant about this one thing. We have to stop equating financial struggle with a lack of intelligence or, like, laziness.
Oh, absolutely. It's not about being lazy. The people struggling the most are usually the ones working the absolute hardest. It's a systemic education failure.
Right.
Think about the timeline of a normal life. You spend, 12 to 16 years in the school system?
Yeah, at least. Usually more if you get a master's or something.
Exactly. And the system is entirely designed to teach you how to earn money. It gives you job skills.
But it completely ignores teaching you how to keep it or grow it.
Right. There is no mandatory class on income protection or investing or the mechanics of how the tax code actually works.
It's wild when I think about it. It's kind of like, it makes me think of learning how to drive a car, right? But the instructor only ever teaches you how to press the gas pedal.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, like they never show you how to steer. They never show you where the brakes are. So you might move really fast. You might work incredibly hard and press that pedal to the floor. But eventually, you're going to crash.
What's fascinating here is the historical context of that missing curriculum. I mean, it's not an accident. The education system we use was heavily influenced by the Prussian model from the Industrial Revolution.
Oh, right. The factory worker model.
Exactly. The economy back then didn't need millions of independent wealth builders. It needed a massive, compliant workforce, people who could follow instructions, show up on time, and just, run the factories.
So the system actually worked perfectly for what it was built to do.
Yes, it produced workers. But today, we're trying to navigate this complex, digital 21st century economy using a map drawn for a 19th century factory town.
Wow. Yeah, so you can press that gas pedal all day, but without a steering wheel, the road curves and you just hit a wall.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that brings us to who is getting hit the hardest by this. Because since the school system trains us for this very specific path, the people who suffer the most are the ones who follow the rules the best.
The middle class.
Exactly.
They do, quote unquote, everything, right? They go to school, they get a stable job, they work hard, they save a little bit of money from every paycheck.
But the problem is that formula is completely outdated.
Yeah, because today you've got rising costs, inflation, taxes. They just eat away at that income way faster than people can keep up with.
And on top of that, relying on a single source of income, like a standard W-2 salary, is incredibly risky in today's world. If that one source stops, everything stops.
Hey, hold on. Let me push back on this for a second, because we always hear about the American dream and the safety of a corporate job. And during, say, the 2008 financial crisis, it was usually the independent entrepreneurs who went bankrupt, while the salaried folks weathered the storm. So why are we saying the traditional path is mathematically broken now?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to look at the massive macroeconomic shifts that happened over the last few decades. The traditional middle-class formula was beautiful in a post-war economy.
When things were more stable.
Right. You had guaranteed corporate pensions, the company carried your retirement risk, a single income could buy a house. But today, a W-2 employee has a single point of failure. You have one client, your employer.
Ah, I see.
If that employer restructures or if AI makes your job redundant, your income goes to zero instantly.
Yeah.
A business owner might have 50 clients. If they lose one, they lose 2% of their income. A salaried worker loses 100%.
Wow. So it's the illusion of safety. You feel safe because you don't see daily volatility, but you're actually taking on massive risk.
Exactly. Plus, the tax system penalizes the W-2 earner more than anyone else. You earn, the government takes its cut immediately, and you look at whatever is left.
Right. Whereas a business spends what it needs to grow and then pays taxes on the leftovers.
Yes. So the middle class is operating with these massive blind spots. And that naturally leads us directly into the three dangerous assumptions that hold people back.
Okay, let's break these down, because I feel like everyone listening is going to recognize at least one of these.
They absolutely will. Assumption number one, my job is secure.
Which we kind of just touched on. In today's world, literally nothing is guaranteed. Corporate loyalty is basically gone.
Right, and assumption number two, I'll figure it out later.
Oh man, the procrastination trap. You hear this from people in their 20s and 30s all the time. I'll invest when the kids are older or when my loans are paid off.
The reality is, later often becomes too late. They completely misunderstand compound interest. Missing 10 years of growth in your 20s isn't something you can easily make up for by just saving more in your 50s.
Because you lose the exponential growth. But here's where it gets really interesting to me. Assumption number 3, saving is enough. Because society applauds the saver, right? We literally have the phrase, a penny saved is a penny earned. So people think doing the safe thing, just hoarding cash in a bank, is the responsible move, but it actually guarantees a loss of value over time.
It does. It's the most insidious assumption because the damage is completely invisible. It's all about inflation. And I like to think of inflation not just as prices going up, but as the ruler you use to measure value getting shorter.
Oh, I love that. Walk us through that ruler analogy.
Yeah, so imagine you have a standard 12-inch ruler and you use it to measure a piece of wood. It's exactly one ruler long.
Okay.
With the central bank expands the money supply, if they print more currency, they're essentially cutting an inch off your ruler.
Ouch. Okay.
So next year, you measure that exact same piece of wood. The wood hasn't changed. It didn't get bigger or better, but your ruler is only 11 inches now. So it takes more of your ruler to measure the wood.
Wow. So when a gallon of milk goes from $3 to $4, the milk didn't magically get 30% better. The dollars you are using just lost 30% of their purchasing power.
Precisely. So if you just leave your money sitting in a traditional savings account, earning maybe 1%.
If you're lucky.
Right, if you're lucky.
Right.
And inflation's running at 4 or 5%, your purchasing power is actively hemorrhaging. You look at the screen, you still see $10,000. The psychological comfort is there. But the harsh economic reality is that the real-world utility of that money is bleeding out.
That is terrifying, but also super clarifying. Okay, so now that the trap and these false assumptions have been exposed, how do we actually reverse this? Awareness without action doesn't change anything, right?
Exactly. We have to move to the escape plan.
Yeah.
And the sources lay out a very specific 4-part solution to break out of this.
So what does this all mean for the listener? What's step 1?
First, you need actual financial education. You need a real understanding of how money flows, not just generic advice like skip your morning coffee.
Right, like understanding the actual difference between an asset and a liability. Most people think their house is an asset, but if it's taking money out of your pocket every month, functionally, it's a liability.
Exactly. You need assets that put money into your pocket, which leads to the second part. Multiple strategies. You have to move beyond a single checking account.
No, wait. When I hear multiple strategies or multiple streams of income, I immediately think of hustle culture. Like, I work my day job, and then I drive Uber at night, and I do freelance writing on the weekends. Is that what we're talking about?
No, absolutely not. That's a huge misconception.
Okay, good.
Driving Uber on the weekends is just finding a new way to trade your physical time for wages. You're just running on 3 treadmills instead of 1.
Yeah.
When the sources say multiple strategies, they mean structuring your financial planning.
So what does that look like?
It means having a strategy for income protection, so an emergency doesn't wipe you out. It means having long-term growth strategies, like real estate or equities, to beat that inflation ruler we talked about. It's about diversifying your capital, not your labor.
Ah, okay. Which leads perfectly to part 3. Make money work for you. Stop trading time for money forever.
Yes, because human beings have biological limits. You need sleep, you get sick, you only have 24 hours in a day.
Right.
If your income is tied directly to your physical labor, your earning potential has a hard ceiling. But capital doesn't sleep, it doesn't take vacations. When you invest, those dollars become your employees, working 24/7.
You're pivoting from working for money to having money work for you. And then the final part of the solution, start N now W, because perfect timing just doesn't exist.
This raises an important question for the listener. What are you actually waiting for? People say, oh, I'll invest when the market calms down.
But the news cycle is never calm. There's always a reason to be terrified.
Exactly. If you wait for all the traffic lights to turn green before you leave your driveway, you'll never go anywhere. Action in the face of imperfect conditions is the only way you capture time.
Which brings us to the ultimate stakes of this whole deep dive. Because we've laid out the trap, we've laid out the escape plan, but we have to talk about the cost of inaction.
It is a massive cost. Doing nothing, waiting, just hoping things will magically work out, it's a tangible, expensive choice.
Yeah, and then unfortunately, most people don't realize that cost until they're in their 60s, and it's just too late to change the math.
Right. You lose your agency. Your choices become dictated entirely by financial necessity.
So if you're listening right now, forget the macro statistics. Forget whether it's exactly 95% of people who are stuck. Focus on this one specific question. Are you financially prepared for the unexpected?
If your primary source of income disappeared tomorrow, what happens?
And look, if the honest answer to that is no, it's not a failure.
No, not at all.
It's an opportunity. Your future isn't determined by what you earn. It's determined by what you understand and what you actually do with it. Fighting ignorance starts with awareness, but it only works if you take action.
Absolutely. You have to ask questions. You have to build a plan. The barriers to financial education have never been lower.
I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over today, something that really gets to the core of why any of this even matters.
Let's hear it.
What if the ultimate luxury in life isn't actually reaching some massive, heavily taxed salary? What if true wealth is finally severing the link between your physical time and your financial security?
That is the ultimate goal.
Think about it. If your physical time was no longer required to generate your income, who would you become?
Wow.
What would you build? How would you spend your days? Because until you rewrite that old map and put your capital to work, you'll never actually find out.